How's it going, guys? And I just got done watching the Batman trailer, and a lot of people, a lot of buzz around this trailer talking about it. So, what did I think about this trailer? I talked about how the Robert Pattinson casting choice was abysmal. And I'm still even looking at this, and I'm very surprised that a lot of people are satisfied with the appearance of Robert Pattinson in this film. I'm really not digging the Bruce Wayne look. Like the hair super long, like super side part with hair going in the face, just does not look like a billionaire. Like, I don't know when you've ever seen Bruce Wayne look that way. I'm sure someone could point to a comic at a certain era in DC Comics where maybe Bruce Wayne looked that way, but I'm just not digging it. As far as how he looks in the suit, he looks really good. And does it look like there's going to be some good action in here? Does there seem like there's going to be some brutal fight scenes? Yes, there are. And it looks like Robert Pattinson is going to be playing a pretty brutal Batman, which is really surprising to me about the response to this. I'm looking through comments. I'm looking through the comments over on IGN because I watched the trailer over on their channel. And people are happy about the aggressive Batman. I mean, I'm happy about an aggressive Batman. I was a big fan of the Batman that we saw in Batman versus Superman. I thought that Ben Affleck did a pretty good job, and most people didn't seem to think that for some reason. They all complain, oh, what about the kill code? What about the kill code? Uh, you know, so now it's like okay among fans. This is why I really despise having discussions like this, especially online with fans, because they're so fickle. It's always the elitist end up in the conversation. They seem to know the rules of the universe when there's been so many exceptions. I mean, you could look at Christian Bale's Batman. No one complained when he got aggressive, but for some reason with Ben Affleck, he has a dream, and people absolutely lost their minds when he had guns. Like, it was like, oh my God, even though it was a dream, like people just couldn't get over the premonition that he was having. And it was just a ridiculous response. So, here we're seeing the same Batman now. Fans are magically on board. I don't know why. In my opinion, Ben Affleck was the better actor. I think he looked a little bit better in the suit. He was buffer. I had a real bad taste in my mouth also with Robert Pattinson. Because a lot of this, it's more than people realize. A lot of people can completely remove themselves from how the person is when they're acting on the screen. But, to me, when you've got an actor and they kind of have an aura about them, it makes the performance so much better. I don't know if anyone agrees with that sentiment, but that's how it is kind of with me. Not that it will completely annihilate this performance, and I'm sure it will be, at the very least, a decent, good performance. But the fact that this guy like had a problem with working out and claimed that it was a connotation of a negative male stereotype to do so, and they're offering him a personal trainer, that would usually cost people quite a bit of money, to stay with them for hours on end. So this guy could get the proper nutrition, get the proper workout that he needs. And for some reason, this guy just went full SJW out of the blue. For some reason, like, man, talk about a bad taste. But we've got quite a few. We've got two villains, really. We've got Falcone. He's in there. Which we saw in Batman Begins. So that's interesting. They have the classic gangster character. Now, the Riddler is meant to be the main villain of this team. We see that right away at the start of the trailer with the coffee cup and the question mark. And we see this is going to be a Riddler that they're not letting you see his face. They're going to keep him masked. And, I kind of like that idea of, kind of doing a different interpretation on the Riddler. I'm all for doing different variations if a director has a certain vision for a character and they want to change it from the comics. So it seems like fans are being weirdly supportive about this move because you usually expect them to say like, "Oh, well, that's not the way how it is in the comics." But I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of giving the Riddler a real mysterious serial killer type of vibe. Also, Colin Farrell, I did not recognize him in the fat suit as the Penguin. I was like saying like, who is that fat guy? And they're kind of doing it different. He didn't really look like the Penguin we know. You know, certainly very far removed from the Danny DeVito Penguin. Very far removed from, comics and animated series Cobblepot. But, definitely an interesting look. It looked like his face was like messed up or burnt in some way, which was on. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what that's all about. I mean, another interpretation of the Penguin, I suppose. Uh, you know, Selena Kyle, Catwoman, is in here, and they've got her dressed in the latex suit, but no mask or anything like that. Now, there's been different looks for Catwoman, but here they're just foregoing the mask for some reason. I find that like a master thief not wearing a mask is a bit peculiar. Like, why wouldn't she be wearing this to start off with? Uh, I thought that was an interesting choice. Overall, I mean, it looks like there's going to be a dark tone. And I've talked about this. I talked about this when they put out the teaser trailer for this film. I says, okay, we're going even darker than before. It looks like there's not going to be any room for humor and everything. And you're talking to a Tim Burton Batman fan here. And I'm also a Christian Bale Batman fan. But, it seems like we're kind of getting away from, kind of having that happy medium. And I get it. We want to have a darker Batman. And that we did have in the Ben Affleck Batman. But, it seems like it seemed even darker for some reason. Like, honestly. Now, it seemed like things were a bit more visible visually. Many people complained about the lighting and stuff, like they can't even make out the actors on screen in the teaser. It still seemed kind of dark. It really did. I mean, this is kind of what the director's going for. He wants to have a dark Gotham City. It's not supposed to be bright and cheery, and it's not going to be Batman Forever and Batman and Robin type of colorfulness. So, I mean, it looks good. And the reason why I'm not like, whoa, like, super excited, like when I was talking about Venom 2 and everything, it's because there wasn't that much of Venom, growing up. And here you have just too many Batman over the years. I mean, you guys gotta understand, like, I've lived through countless Batman, the Tim Burton era, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck. I mean, you name it. And, just so many different Batman throughout the years. And, and I'm looking at this one and I'm not having the same feeling. Like, I know, like, I was very critical at first. Like, Ben Affleck is Batman. But then, as I saw how this guy was like working out for the role and everything, Ben Affleck was a happy surprise for me. But, since the announcement of Robert Pattinson, my jaw kind of dropped at this. It's just like, we're kind of getting away from the alpha males of Batman. And that's kind of what it really comes down to. And we're just kind of having a Batman or Bruce Wayne here where I'm just not on board with the actor. And I'm seeing it, like right away with Ben Affleck, and I watched the Batman versus Superman trailer. Like, I was on board. Here, I'm still not on board. I'm giving it a chance. I'll see the movie, and the trailer does look good. It does look good, okay? Before you start steamrolling me with comments and all that. So, oh, no, we're talking about. That's usually the normal response from comic book fans. Undoubtedly one of the worst types of fan bases you could come across. I don't know how, the Batman fans seem a bit calmer than the Marvel fans, but, obviously those who watch Marvel are going to be watching the DC stuff, whether they hate watch it or not, but Anyway, yeah, good trailer. I'm just being very cautious about this one, not setting my sights too high in terms of the quality and what I'm expecting. I don't know. I don't know a lot about Matt Reeves as a director. Besides Planet of the Apes and Cloverfield, I mean, this is a much different type of endeavor for this director. I mean, we're talking about Batman here, much different from Planet of the Apes, and I was not a big fan of those Planet of the Apes films. They really just did not do it for me. Cloverfield, obviously, I mean, that was an acquired taste. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens with this one, to say the least. And then sit back and try to analyze this and see where it fits in with all the other Batman films in terms of quality when we compare them. So yeah, I guess we'll be talking about this when the film releases in March of 2022, which is, still a good 5.5 months away. So if anything else comes up about the film that's worth talking about, you can expect for it to be talked about here. But if not, then I will be talking about it then. So guys, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. What did you think of this trailer? More like specific? I'm just kind of a little bit more curious. Like, what do you think of Robert Pattinson, especially when he's outside of the Batman suit? How he looks as Bruce Wayne? Do you agree with me? Does he not really have that debonair type of Bruce Wayne appearance that we've come to expect from this type of character? But anyway, yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys. I will see you next time.